Welcome to the trailer park, folks. I'm a new investor with a goal of hitting $10,000 by the end of the year. Will I get rich or will I get wrecked? We'll find out together. We'll start off by taking a little look at the gravel road gains, see where we're at on our road to $10,000. I bought 2 new stocks this week, and I'm telling you, they are the most trailer park stocks that you could possibly buy. We'll talk about that. I sold a stock this week to generate a little money to put into these 2 new stocks, so we'll discuss that. Take a quick look at the dry powder, the money that we spent this week with the dry powder from selling a couple of stocks last week. And we'll look at the heavy hitters, see which stocks really performed well for us this week, and hand out our MVP. Well, let's get started. Well, as you can see, this was another outstanding week for us. I mean, just a few weeks ago, we were tapping on the door being $1,000 down year to date. 3 weeks later, 3% up one week, 5% up last week, and this week up another 6%. We are now at $6,101, only down 2% now, and down 140 real live American dollars. I'd say we're heading the right direction. Here in a week or two, this will all be behind us and we'll be on our way to making money, and we'll be really glad that we were buying all the way through this dip. All right, so let's start with our buys and sells for the week. I sold SHLD. It's a defense industry ETF. It was kind of just laying there flat. It wasn't doing a whole lot. And honestly, there's a little bit of a moral dilemma in my head. I don't like war. I don't think anybody does. You got thoughts rolling around in your head that you're making profits off of death, and I just decided it was time to go ahead and cut it loose and put it into something that I could be a little bit more excited about. So I sold it off, got $93 out of it. I think I'd put in 100, so I'm down $7 or so, no big deal. And I took that money, I took my weekly 120 that I use to buy my stocks every week, put those together, and I still had about $42 left over from last week's, or not last week, but the early this week's dry powder buys. And I put $175 into SKY, it's Skyline Champion Homes, and Legacy Homes I put $80 into. I'm basically going to treat these 2 like one stock, like one position. It's a mobile home play. And I mean, if you're going to be the trailer park stock trader, how can you not have a position in some mobile homes? Now, there's a good reason why I'm doing this, though, beyond the fact that they're just mobile home stocks. There's a story behind it. We'll get into that a little bit later in the video. All right, so while we're talking about our buys and sells, figured we'd go ahead and jump into what we did early in the week. Last week's video, we talked about what we kind of had planned for the dry powder. I just wanted to touch on it again real quick. And we did go ahead and follow through on the plan. SPMO, the cheat code, our momentum ETF, we put $175 into. SCHG, it's my high growth gravy train. We put $125 into that. Elf Beauty, the trailer park's favorite. Put $100 in there, and SoFi, Gen Z's favorite bank without a bank, got $75. I'm going to refer to these 2 stocks as my mobile home money makers. We're going to start off with Sky, because that's the big dog. Sky Champion Homes. I'm sure you've heard of them if you've ever been in this industry or been living in a trailer park. They are a $4.5 billion market cap. That's a big outfit. There's only about 4 companies that do mobile homes like this, and these guys are top dogs. They're right there at the top. There is one other company, Cavco, that's also in this $4+ billion market cap. I was able to pay $75 a share, and man, what timing. I ended up buying it Thursday morning. I bought both of these stocks, Legacy and Sky, on Thursday morning. I was able to pick this up at $75, and by the end of the next day, they had already run up to $81. So, I mean, up 8% in a day on a brand new buy. Legacy did the same thing. They ended up running up. I bought them around 20, and they ran up to almost 22. And so I had a 6% gain on Legacy on day one. That's what I'm talking about. So $4.5 billion market cap. They've got a recent high stock price of 99 bucks. So, I mean, we're talking within the last 3 months. So I'm feeling real good about being able to get into this at $75. I think it's going to be a good play for me. Their PE ratio right now is 21, which sounds a little high when most of the other companies in this sector are running between 10 and 15, you know. So the 21 does sound high, but their historical average PE ratio is 35. You know, they've been big growers, so they've had a good PE ratio. Now they're bigger. Growth is starting to slow down a little bit, but they're still growing. They're still growing revenues, and their earnings look great. Debt to equity ratio, 7.5%. I mean, they basically have very, very little debt. Nothing that you would ever need to worry about. That looks awesome. And the analyst 12-month target price on this is 102 bucks. Great upside. You're looking at what, 25-30% upside, and that's not even including what I'm about to tell y'all was the reason I bought these companies. There's, like I said, there's a story, there's a reason, there's a catalyst coming for growth for these two companies, and that's why I jumped in, not just because they're mobile home companies. All right, so now we move on to Legacy, Champion Homes' little brother. This is a much smaller company. As you can see, what do we got? They are a $520 million market cap. Compared that to the $4.5 billion market cap of Champion. These guys are small. I got interested in them not only because they're small and because they got a good potential for growth if this catalyst hits, but they're also local. They got a local flavor. They're right over in Bedford, Texas. I told my wife that I might just call them on the phone and see if I can't run over there and shoot some video and take a look at what they got going on over there at Legacy Homes. I think it'd be a lot of fun to see trailers getting made and how the whole process works, and maybe visit with somebody there about, you know, where their growth and earnings could be coming from and how they feel about this catalyst that we're about to discuss next. PE ratio of 12, much lower than Champions. I was able to pick them up for $20. Like I said, they ran up to just under $22 by the end of Friday, which was awesome. Debt to equity, 0. Man, these folks are running no debt. No debt. Debt to EBITDA was 0. I think the highest number I found on any of these looking back, just even over the last few quarters, was 0.23. So they're just not carrying debt. They're running clean. I'm treating these two different stocks as a 2-for-1. I'm going to keep about 3% into SKY or Champion Homes, and I'm going to get about 2% into Legacy Homes, and together have a 5% position in the mobile home industry. So I'm just treating these whenever we talk about them. I'll talk about them both together almost every time. These will be referred to as my mobile home money makers. All right, so now we get to the catalyst. The whole reason why I bought these two stocks, it's because I heard about the Road to Housing Act. It started in Congress. They passed it. I mean, both parties. It was like it had great support from both sides. They knocked it out, got it done, shipped it off to Senate. Senate did some tweaking, did some changes. They've already tweaked and changed and sent it back to Congress. So now Congress is back in that mode of going over what the Senate did and trying to get it back to where they can approve it. And that's where we're at. But it seems to have a lot of support from both sides, and it looks like it's going to go through. Timeline's a little iffy. We're probably looking at 6 to 9 months would be my best guess from what I'm hearing from other people. It's got some catalysts that are really going to change the game for these companies. First is a zoning change, and it's not likely. All right, the one that the Congress had sent to the Senate was basically saying that you could zone mobile homes or you could set mobile homes in single-family residence, and they were going to change the ability of the state and local laws to restrict mobile homes in these areas. Let's get real. That's never going to happen. As soon as it went to the Senate, they scrubbed that right out. They watered it down to they're going to provide incentives for local governments to change zoning to allow these homes in. But we all know that's really not going to happen. These people in these nice brick houses are not going to want a mobile home plopped into the middle of their neighborhood. It's not going to happen. So I think even if it does stay watered down the way it is and goes through, I was hoping for the big effect from the first congressional bill that went through, but since it got watered down, I don't really see it happening. But it might incentivize some local areas that have some spaces that have been zoned residential but don't already have big neighborhoods put in them. They're going to be getting federal funding coming in for adding housing to their areas, affordable housing to their areas. So it might be an incentive to at least add some more areas where it's just mobile homes or just manufactured housing. The big part of this, and the part that looks like it's going to sail right through, nobody's touching it, nobody's messing with it, nobody seems to have a problem with it, it's Section 301, which allows them to remove the steel chassis. All these manufactured homes have permanent steel chassis under them, and it very much limits the design capabilities of these manufactured home builders. They could do a lot more width, height, 2-story mobile homes. They could do it if they didn't have to have that steel chassis. It restricts what they're able to do with the builds on these houses. So if they change this to where these steel chassis don't have to be a part of the house. Now they can still build them if somebody thinks they're going to be moving their trailer all over the place. But for most of us, you get your trailer, you plop it down where it's at, and that's where it stays. And if you move, you just sell your trailer, leave it where it's at. Most people aren't going to spend the $3-4 grand that it takes to move a trailer somewhere else and then have to repair all the damage that it does to these things when they get moved. Every single trailer is going to be about $5,000 to $10,000 less for these companies to manufacture without that steel chassis. And like I said, it's going to change the design. They'll be able to do 2-story manufactured homes. They'll be able to go in and set them on slabs instead of them being on these steel beams and just, cinder blocks. They'll be able to have real foundations and be anchored down and be a lot more solid, which will allow them to be built bigger. That's going to be huge. That'll get a lot more people interested in it. Right now, they say that we've got a shortage of 6 million homes in the nation. They said there's 1 million short in New York. They're about 500,000 short in Florida. They're about 500,000 short in California. And so then there's 4 million more all throughout the country. People still needing affordable houses, and there's not any available. So that's what all this Road to Housing Act is meant to try to alleviate, try to help. And with the cost of housing the way it is, I go look at these neighborhoods. I'm in the industry. I work at a cabinet shop that does new construction. And so when new construction's suffering, my business suffers. And the houses that are being built and being sold right now at a rapid pace are the giant houses, the ones that I'll never have a chance at affording and don't even care to be honest. It's not something I'm really into, but it's gotten to where even your small starter homes are priced at such a point that the regular person can't get into them, especially young people just getting started out. So I think this could be a wonderful catalyst for these companies to grow and to be able to make larger profits, just getting rid of the chassis. Even if they sell the same amount of mobile homes they've always sold, they don't have to put this chassis on them, and they're saving $5,000 to $10,000 on every single house. That's going to hit the bottom line. Margins go up, and stock price should go up as well. So if something happens, it looks like the bill is going through, but if something crazy happens and this bill either gets watered down so bad that it's just useless, or if it gets scrapped altogether, no bill, no deal. I'll end up selling these two, getting out with whatever little I've made on them, and moving on to something else that's got a good story. These companies are both good companies, nothing wrong with them, but without this bill going through, without this catalyst, they're both set and projected for growth, but very minimal and slow growth. And I'm trying to do something a little bit quicker than that. I'm not trying to hit the big lick and, you know, go 1000x. You know, I would just like something that's going to grow a little bit faster than 2 to 6%, which is what these guys do on a typical basis. So I'm really counting on this bill to go through so that we can make some money on these guys and let them live up to their names I've given them of the mobile home money makers. Okay. All right, well, let's give out some game balls. We had some heavy hitters this week again. As you could tell, we were up 6% for the week, so you got to have some guys coming through with some big performances for you to make that happen. NLR, my nuclear ETF, went up 8% this week. Meta, the mighty Meta, up 8% this week. AMD has been our MVP for the last 2 weeks. I believe it was 9% up 2 weeks ago, got them the MVP award. Last week they were up 14%. That got them an MVP. This week they came in at 17%. How hot is this stock right now? I'm up, I don't know, 120 something percent on it right now. It's my big dog for a reason. It has slipped to the second position in the portfolio because SPMO's been on a good little run, my cheat code. And so SPMO's kind of edged them out. They're the second largest position in the portfolio, but running hard. And at 17%, still couldn't make the MVP podium for the third week in a row. Let's see who beat them out. And the MVP award goes to SoFi. Gen Z's favorite bank without a bank. Noto is crushing it over there. I can't wait to see earnings coming back out here soon. Up 20% for the week. 20%, y'all. I'm excited. We got AMD at 17% and SoFi hitting 20%. I got 2 brand new stocks, my mobile home money makers, that hit 8 and 6% respectively in one day. What a week. What a week. I wish they could all be like this, but then I guess everybody'd be in the market, and yeah, what fun would that be? Anyway, y'all, I couldn't be more excited. This is a wonderful week. SoFi's crushing it. I still think they got a long runway ahead. I'll probably have to wait till I see them clip back around that $30, $32 spot before I would even think about selling them. And if they're still looking good, if they're still turning in earnings like they are right now, I'll hang on to them even longer. Noto says they're going to be a top 10 financial company. Who am I to question him? I mean, he's crushing it right now. And if that's the case, I may just be hanging on to this stock for a really, really long time and seeing just how far it can run. Well, that about covers it this week, folks. I sure do appreciate you showing up. And remember, we may never get rich at this, but there's nothing wrong with trying to get a little bit more than what you got. We'll see y'all next week here at the Trailer Park.